If your blood runs orange and blue, this is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it.
Let's shift gears and talk about these games coming up. So the Knicks late night action for the New York Knicks returns this week. They head out west. They will take on the Sacramento Kings on TNT Thursday night. So a rare kind of spotlight game for those teams to be playing each other on a TNT game. I can't remember the last time those two teams played each other on national TV. The Kings are one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They've won 9 of their last 12 games. They are the number 2 seed right now in the Western Conference. Mike Brown, my vote for Coach of the Year right now, has done a phenomenal job this season. They beat the Pelicans on Monday without all-star guard De'Aaron Fox, who has been dealing with some hamstring soreness. Head coach Mike Brown says it was his call to sit Fox, who wanted to play in that game. So you think that maybe that was one of those rest deals and maybe he's back for this one. But, of course, we'll have to see how their injury report falls out. The last time these two teams played was December 11th when the Knicks throttled the Kings 112-99. De'Aaron Fox also amidst that game as well. So the Knicks have not played a full Kings team yet this season in their one match that they had. So when you talk about this matchup, I know the matchup I'm looking at, regardless of Fox plays because of the history between these two guys. But what matchup are you looking at with these two teams, in the Kings and the Knicks?
Yeah, first and foremost, there are just about the Kings. Let me first and foremost say I've joked with them in the past and even heading into the season that trading Tyrese Haliburton was a terrible decision. I couldn't believe they did it. He's one of the primary point guards. The Kings, as of this morning, are second place in the Western Conference, which is crazy. So credit to them, credit to the organization for rolling the dice on the Domantas Sabonis deal. Sabonis has played incredibly well since arriving in Sacramento, and he's been paired well with De'Aaron Fox. So good for those Sacramento fans that will finally snap the longest playoff list streak in the NBA this season. And just the fact that, how about the Knicks playing the Kings? There were 8 teams in the NBA with 38 or more wins this season. 2 of them are the Kings and the Knicks. Who would have figured that on opening day? You would have got some pretty long odds had you been able to say that. So just and one other thing to mention regarding the Kings, not only have they won 9 of 12, not only are they second place in the Western Conference, and they've won 6 of 7. They haven't played since Monday. They've been home since February 28th was their last road game. They played their last 3 games have been home games. So a massive, there's certain websites that compare rest, who has the rest advantage in certain games. This is a massive rest advantage game for the Kings. Not only have they had 3 days off, not only have they been home, the Knicks are playing, as we talked about, right to the buzzer Friday, double overtime Sunday, another game right down to the wire Tuesday. Get on a plane, fly out to California, play on the road Thursday night against a rested Kings team. So there's a lot working in the favor of Sacramento in this game, something to keep in mind. I'll be interested to see what the spread is coming at this one. But yeah, so those are the things that I think are definitely worth mentioning, heading into Thursday's game. Matchups wise, what do you got? What's one you keep in mind?
To me, whenever Randle sees Sabonis, it's usually war. That's how it's been since those 2 guys have matched up in the Eastern Conference. I don't know why. I don't think there's anything personal between these guys. I know these guys have battled for all-star spots in the past. But since Randle's gotten here, he seems to have taken that Sabonis matchup very personally. Now, Sabonis has played a lot of 5 for the Kings this year, so how much time he gets on Randle might not be as much as he normally does. But if Randle is seeing some of those smaller ball 4s that they will be playing against him, that could also open up a lot of his offense as well. They play a lot of Keegan Murray at the 4. Harrison Barnes, who also plays a lot of 4 as well. So how Randle does against their front court as a whole, I think will be the matchup I'm looking to watch, because he had a lot of ragged games last season, but the one game that stands out was the 40-point special he had against the Kings, where he hit like 7 or 8 threes in that game. And it kind of goes back to that consistent theme of, if Sabonis is on the court with him, he's going to show he's the better player. So I would definitely expect Randle to bounce back from the performance he had against the Hornets with the big one in Sacramento.
Yeah, I think the point guard spot is obviously going to be the
Yeah.
wild card here. Does Fox play? Does Brunson play? That'll kind of depend. It sounds like Fox is trending in the direction of playing. It sounds like he could have had Monday been a playoff game for Sacramento. It sounds like he would have been able to suit up. So we'll see
Mhm.
if he gets back on track. If not, Davion Mitchell played really well for the started in place of Fox on Monday. Scored 15 points, 6 assists. 6 of 8 from the floor, and you know that he's going to bring that intensity defensively.
Yeah.
He's a defense first guy, so he's kind of like IQ in certain respects. He's smaller and doesn't quite have the combo guard capabilities, but can get after you defensively. Likes to push the tempo. Plays with a chip on his shoulder. So those two guys could theoretically be matched up if the starting point guards aren't back. But should Brunson and Fox both return, which hopefully is the case, then that'll be Fox was one of the players that made the All-Star game over Brunson as an injury replacement. And Fox was a guy that was rumored to potentially be a trade target last year. So Brunson wants to get back on the floor, wants to make his case as and get the Knicks back on track. So that should be a very interesting matchup if that comes to pass.
Yeah, and when you talk about this Kings team, even without Fox, they are extremely dangerous offensively. But Sabonis plays essentially a point center kind of role for them. He averages almost 7 assists this season. When you talk about where they rank, second in field goal percentage, they're up there in 2-point percentage. They're first in the NBA, third in field goals made. I mean, this is a very dangerous offense. Of course, number one in the league in points per game at 121.1 points per game. So when you talk about this Kings team, it should be a clash of styles. The Knicks don't play; they kind of pace the Kings play. So when you think about this game, it's going to come down to, I think, who can impose their will more. And when you talk about the Knicks coming off of these ragged games they've been playing recently, where they've been playing long, extended, tough physical games, and the Kings, they kind of smoked the Pelicans the other night, and they've been at home for a week and a half. You would think that they may be able to come out and really kind of impose their will on how they want to play on this game. It's been really fascinating watching this Kings team this season because Mike Brown came in with kind of like a mandate to improve their defense, which he has. I mean, they were historically bad for the last few years. They're still not a great defensive team, but they've improved in certain parts. They're a much better rebounding team this year, which is very important as well. But it's kind of been a remarkable shift for a Kings team that as you mentioned in the NBA longest playoff streak, they might have the worst longest playoff streak in all professional sports in America, I think.
Right,
With
right.
all the major sports, between hockey, baseball, and NBA, obviously, and NFL. And to see how they've turned it around this season under Coach Brown, I think he deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point about the pace. I think that'll kind of determine the game. The Knicks, more than likely, aren't going to win this game 129, 126. If they're going to be
Right.
successful, it's because it's going to be 104, 99 or 111 to 106, something along those lines. They are going to need to control the pace, especially they're playing at a rest deficit. The Kings are going to look to come out flying and put the pressure on the Knicks and really make them run and make them work, make them exert energy right from the opening tip. If the Knicks can slow the pace down, control the defensive rebounds, and get back in, not allow too many easy buckets in transition, make it a half-court game, they greatly increase their chances to win. I think that's going to be one of the really early keys to this game. I think we'll get a feel of it, by halftime, by the third quarter. If it's trending in that really high-scoring direction, Knicks are in trouble.
And I think one of the matchups to watch, and depending on if Fox plays, will be how they match up with the backcourt, because Kevin Huerter is at a tremendous season this season as well. I mean, he's really come into his own after leaving the kind of the shadows of the Atlanta players, Young and obviously they traded Murray. They got Murray this summer to get him out of there. But he's been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. And if Fox plays, that could mean, okay, I guess Grimes is going to be on Fox, but that could mean either RJ or Brunson, or if it's IQ, somebody's going to have to be able to stick with Huerter, because he could really rattle them off and hurt you from behind the arc. I mentioned Keegan Murray. He's a stretch 4 who can shoot the ball. He's shooting football 40% from the 3 this season on 6 attempts per game. So a lot of volume there. Malik Monk is a microwave scorer off the bench as well. So Knicks gonna have to defend the 3. They're really gonna have to. Their defense is gonna be extended. Whether it's Mitchell putting pressure on the paint because he can fly, get up and down the court, or if it's Fox, who is one of the best finishers in the league as a point guard, one of the best attacking guards in the league. Knicks are going to be spread out defensively. They're going to have to be all in their P's and Q's. But Herter is a guy that I think also will be someone to watch in this one.
Yeah, the Herter deal, looks like an absolute steal for the Kings right now. They traded him for top 14 protected pick in the 2024 draft. So to get him for and he's still young. To get him for
he's 24 years old.
Great deal for the Kings. Also, a chance to get a look at Keegan Murray, who's been one of the more impressive rookies this season. I haven't had a chance to watch him too much, so I really like this game coming out of school. So will be interesting to see get an up close look at Murray as well. But yeah, the Kings, like the Knicks, are really one of those squads that greatly exceeded expectations this year. Are sort of playing at house money at this point. But they're not your older brother's Kings. These kids can play, and it'll be a challenge for the Knicks most certainly.
Yeah, making the ghosts of Peja, Mike Bibby, and Chris Webber proud with the way this team is played. And I'll be curious to see what they do in the playoffs, because I remember a couple years ago, and I remember really standing my ground. I really thought the Suns, the first year they got Chris Paul, he reached the upper echelon of the Western Conference when a lot of people were kind of skeptical. And they came in that first round series against the Lakers, and it was a lot of, Suns have been good, but Lakers got LeBron, they got AD, they're defending champs. Like they'll handle these guys. And my thing was, look, a lot of times the regular season kind of tells you the story what the playoffs are going to be, even though the names may be a little different or the teams may not be the team name brands you expect. The Suns ended up, washing the Lakers essentially in that series. I kind of wonder if the Suns will do, the Kings are that team this year. A lot of people will look at them, and I think whoever comes out of that playing, that there will be people racing to pick against the Kings, especially if it's the Lakers or some of these other teams like, the Warriors, if they slip and get back into that playing situation. Like this Kings team, man, if you've been following them, I know a lot of people haven't. They are high flying. They score a lot of points, and they are very difficult to stop.
Just looking at the Western Conference standings right now, it is amazing. I mean, you theoretically the lower seed could be favored in every single matchup. For instance, you mentioned the Kings right now, that the Timberwolves and Clippers are in that 7-8 spot. So let's say the Clippers win. Clippers are going to be favored against the Kings in the first round. So. Then you got the Lakers and Pels 9-10. So let's say the Lakers, slip into that 8 seed. They take on the Nuggets, and the Nuggets should be favored. But and I'm sure they probably will be a slight favorite in Vegas. But a lot of NBA pundits will pick the Lakers, assuming LeBron's healthy, assuming AD's healthy. That's a scary team you don't want a part of. A ton of pressure on Jokic, especially with all the conversation around MVP tied to playoff success and that ridiculous conversation. Then you got the Grizzlies. The 3-6 would be the Grizzlies and the Warriors. The Warriors are
who knows
who knows what's going on, but the Grizzlies are a mess right now. Ja Morant and all the other craziness that's going on out in they lost Clark with the Achilles injury. Brendan Clark, that's a major miss. And then you got the 4-5, the Suns and the Mavs, whether they flip flop or not. But there's just so much parity. And one thing to mention, just credit to Adam Silver in the league office. This play-in format has been an incredible success. You got teams that normally would be out of it, fighting like heck, to qualify for the postseason. You got teams that normally would just basically cruise. They don't care if they get the 3 seed or the 7 seed or the 5 seed or the 6 seed. They're fighting like heck to avoid that 7th spot. So really increase the level of competition, the level of play, the level of interest from city to city to city across the country. This thing has been a major success for the NBA.
Yeah, people will complain about the regular season not mattering, and maybe that's true for the first 4 months of the season. It is not true for now and April. The regular season matters a great deal to about 10 teams in both conferences who are trying to avoid that playing situation. So, and the amount of parity between these teams, I mean, from Dallas at 5 to Utah at 13, you're talking about a 3-game difference. So tell me that those teams don't care about whether or not they're making the playoffs. So